Like I say, if you guys want to take a seat, the team can take a seat, not the parents. You guys sit and if you want. If any of the parents want to come up here, you're welcome to if you haven't been a part of this yet. All right, I'll try to project as best I can. I know we're kind of in a strange shape here. So if you can't hear me, just say, hey, you talk louder. That works. But first off, congrats to everybody that's out here today. Crossroads events are undoubtedly my favorite throughout the summer. Probably for the biggest reason is that, you know, your coaches recommended you. And most events these days, you go on a website, you sign up, you show up, you do your thing. Okay, but the fact that the coaches took time out of their day, took time out of their schedule to recommend you for this, the fact that coaches came out here and are volunteering their time to work with you guys, you know, says a lot about the belief that they have in you as far as playing beyond just high school. Okay, so pretty cool thing. Parents, players, you know, be sure to thank coaches for that. And players, you know, I know it's redundant, I know it's a theme throughout the day, but make sure you thank your families, thank your parents for making this happen and for bringing you out here today, because, you know, without them, really, you got nothing. Okay, so make sure that that's the focal point of everything that happens today. A little bit about myself. My name is Nelson Gore. I've helped out Eric and Travis for the past 3 years with these events, you know, doing a lot of the recruiting education stuff. I'm head coach at a high school, run a travel program, I coach collegiately, you know, was blessed enough to play professionally and play college baseball. I work with USA Baseball, so kind of a baseball nut. You know, other than Christmas and Easter, I'm pretty much on a ball field or in a cage or doing something somewhere. But the recruiting thing is what I'm most passionate about. And the reason for that is, you know, I come from a single parent household. Nobody in my family, you know, grandparents, aunts, uncles, mom, nobody had ever been to a 4-year school, let alone graduated from one. So I bucked that trend. And I can tell you flat out that without sports, you know, without playing sports throughout high school, that probably wouldn't have been the case. You know, I probably got in trouble, my grades wouldn't have been as good, you know, and probably most of all, financially, it wouldn't have been a real opportunity. Okay, so I thank God every day for those opportunities, and I've kind of made it my thing where, you know, I want to help young men like yourself, help families like all of you understand the process, because there's a lot of information out there, but there's also a lot of misinformation. Okay, and what misinformation does is it breeds insecurity. Okay, and a lot of you guys, you open up Twitter, you look at different websites, oh, this dude committed to this place, this guy's going here, this guy's throwing this hard, this guy's doing that. And we're left wondering, well, what the heck am I not doing right? Okay, what are you doing right? You're at this event today, I can tell you that much. Okay, what you are doing right is you're sitting here right now listening to what I have to say. Okay, so I know that I sent out an email yesterday to everybody. I don't know how many people open their emails on a Sunday, but it'll be sitting there waiting for you when you get home. And there's a little outline in there. The book covers a lot of the same information, you know, and I'll just add a little bit of color to that. Okay, so the first thing on there, it says, when does the recruiting process start? Okay, and I know that we have 2019, 2020, 2018 grads. We have a pretty wide range of graduation years. Okay, so there's not really one right answer. Okay, the thing is, it starts today. We can't change yesterday, can we? We can't go back in time and do anything differently. Okay, all we can do is make a conscious decision today, okay, to get something done. Okay, and what that means is you have to start developing relationships. Okay, how many of you guys went to the homecoming dance or went to prom, did any of that this year? Raise your hand. Okay. So my assumption is that you didn't just bump into some random girl in the hallway and you're like, hey, there's this thing going on next Saturday. Got anything going on? Like, it's not the way it went down, right? Like, I know my guy right here had like 80 balloons, you know, filled up her car. You were singing like some rap song to your girl that you wrote yourself. It sounded a lot better in your head than when it actually came out, didn't it? But, you know, the way that happened is, you know, you might have went to grade school with her, she might be the girl down the street, you know, maybe you sit at the same lunch table, you sit next to her in algebra class, whatever the case, okay, you've developed some sort of relationship. Call it what you want, label it what you want, whether it's a girlfriend or just a friend or cousin, which is a little weird. You know, the fact is you developed some sort of relationship, okay, and the guys walking around with college shirts on, the college coaches, they want the same thing. Okay, yes, they want a great baseball player. Yes, they want a high-performing academic student. Okay, they want those things, but most importantly is they're going to commit to somebody for the the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years that they want to be around, that they want a relationship with, okay, that they know is going to fit in the culture of their team. Okay, so you can't do that overnight. Okay, the coach is going to ask them to dance tonight if they've never met you before. Okay, so you have to start cultivating and then developing those relationships. It means you have to be proactive. Okay, it means that you have to reply to emails. It means you have to pick up the phone. It means you have to introduce yourself. Okay, do things that men do. Okay, so you have to develop those relationships. That's something you guys can commit to. Okay, and you have to do it. You know, less talk, more walk. Okay, the second thing is, how do coaches find players? Crossroads events. Okay, is Crossroads the only name in the game? Are they the be-all, end-all? No, it's a fantastic event. Okay, but if you went around the country right now, there's probably 100 similar things going on at this very moment. Okay, and what all the coaches do, whether they're here today, somewhere else, you know, or at some barbecue with their friends, okay, what they all do is they go home later, okay, and they check their email, they open up, they start building a list of players to whittle down. Okay, so they look at a large number of players, they put on a list, and when they go to an event or they go to a tournament, they cross-check that against who's actually there. Okay, so if there's an opportunity for you to get into a list anywhere, okay, do it. If there's an opportunity to update your information, do it. Okay, because if you have your Power Ranger at AOL.com email address when you were 8 years old, okay, that's not going to play right now if you don't even check it or it doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so make sure that your information is updated, coaches can find you, and you have the right stuff out there. Okay, with that, great, they find you, you're on a list, what's the next thing they want? Okay, the first thing coach asked me for, I'm like, hey, you got to see Johnny so-and-so, dude can really catch and throw left-handed bat, yada yada. He's going to say, I need to see him play. Okay, well, you're in California and he's in Indianapolis. How's that going to play out? How are you going to see him play? What do you guys think? Bingo, right? Most of us have something like that, a smartphone, something similar. Okay, when I was going through it, I had to get an actual tape, like VHS tape, had to put it in bubble wrap, send it to the coach, you know, hopefully it gets there at some point in time through Pony Express. But the process was a little bit more challenging, a little bit more time consuming. Okay, so it blows my mind when I ask you guys, when a coach asks for video on a player, and you're like, sorry coach, I don't have any. Well, how the heck not? Send out like 50 Instagrams and Snapchats and tweets and everything else, but you can't take 15 swings in a cage, 15 pitches in the bullpen, 10 ground balls. You can't do those things? No, sorry coach. Okay, you can do that, can't you? Okay, without question. Okay, it's something you have to do and you have to continue to update. Okay, the excuse I oftentimes hear from, especially probably the parents, is, oh, we're waiting until, you know, he's going to speed training classes, we're waiting until he gets a little faster, then we'll put out the video. Okay, because the coaches are idiots, right? They don't know that he's going to be faster a year from now. Okay, you can invest all that you want in all those different things, and it's all good and great. We want your sons to get better at everything. Okay, but at the same time, coaches understand that as their bodies develop, as they grow, okay, things are going to change. They will be bigger, faster, stronger at 20 than they are at 16. They know that. Okay, but what you can't do is get back that time, like we said, and you have to realize that they're looking for the nuances. They're looking for, how does your arm work? How are his hands? What's his back half like? Those things, they tend to stay the same. I have a 2 and a 5 and an 8-year-old. And I'll tell you right now, like my little 2-year-old guy, his swing's probably going to look pretty much the same when he's 16 as it does right now. Which maybe he'll need to play the piano or keyboard or something then. But I've worked with enough players to know that there are certain things that are just who you are. And then you develop that skill set from there. Okay, so can we all get some video out there? Okay, and the Crossroads guys are doing a great thing and giving you access to Skillshow because they're like the Rolls Royce of video. They're the best. You watch the MLB draft tomorrow, like 80% of the videos in the MLB draft show are going to be shot by Skillshow. That you guys have them here today. That's pretty remarkable. The fourth thing, where are you qualified to play? Okay, I said before my son's 2, right? When you're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go to your first ball game. So I'm going to play for the Cubs or the Indians or the Yankees. That's what I'm going to do when I grow up. You hit about middle school and you're like, wow, TCU's really cool, you know, or Florida State, you know, or Miami or North Carolina State or wherever. you get to where you're at in high school now, and you're like, well, Florida State's not calling. Not saying they won't, okay, but right now they currently aren't. So maybe we have to look at some different things. Okay, and in last year's draft, okay, I had the chance to work with for USA Baseball or whatever, 21 different guys who were drafted last year. Okay, not because anything I did. Okay, they're immensely talented, blessed athletes who work hard. You know, so I'm not saying that's not the point of it. Okay, but what I can tell you is a guy that didn't get drafted. Okay, the best baseball player I ever coached was playing in the Division III College World Series 2 weeks ago. Best baseball player I've ever coached. Okay, they helped him out financially, got a chance to play right away. He was the regional player of the year, and had the major that he was looking for. Okay, it was the right fit for him. Okay, so sometimes what maybe our dreams are, the grandiose vision of some bright lights that we once thought of, okay, manifest themselves in different ways. Okay, what's best at 5 or 15 isn't always best at 20 or 21. Okay, so you want to go to a place that you're wanting. Using that same analogy from before, if the girl's not picking up the phone, she probably doesn't want to go to the dance with you. Right? Okay, but the girl that's sitting right next to you sometimes is the one you'll end up with for the rest of your life. Okay, and you guys have to open your eyes and you have to see what's in front of you. You have to see the people that do actually want you, that want to give you a jersey, that want to give you some financial assistance, that want you in that team meeting, that want to put a C on your chest because you're captain of that program. Okay, because that's a lot cooler than begging your way to sit on the bench. I'll tell you that much straight up. Okay, so find that right fit for you. There are 1,600 plus college programs out there. 1,600 plus. And if I gave you guys a pen and paper, my guess is that most of you would have a hard time writing down 30 to 50. If you wrote down 100, you'd be an all-star. Okay, and that's still excluding $1,500 that are out there. Okay, so open your eyes, broaden your horizons. Last thing, and the one that kind of hits closest for me, is what's your coach's role? Okay, high school program, 68 players in it last year. Travel program, about 150. Okay, it's unreasonable to believe that I am capable of doing that for 220 plus players, 240 players. Okay, it's just not, the time doesn't map out, doesn't make sense. Okay, your high school coaches, your travel coaches, your Legion coaches, they have families, they have full-time jobs, and the rule that I have with them, with my players at least, is I will not work harder for you than you're willing to work for yourself. Okay, if they ask me to send out a list or an email to a list of schools, and I ask them, well, how many schools have you contacted last week, and they say 0, well, I'm going to contact 0. Okay, if you guys want it, you have to be hungry, you have to go out and get it. Okay, and you guys already watched the end, so I probably sound repetitive right now, right? That was my fault, I guess, but, you know, parents, it's Monday. Well, most people are working on Mondays, or I'm sure you have, you know, you guys have siblings that maybe some parents had to get childcare for, their aunts, uncles, or grandpas today, because they're trying to make everything work so that you guys can pursue your dreams. Okay, so it's not their job to answer the phone or reply to emails or to send stuff out. It's not your coach's job really to do it. Okay, it's our job to aid you and assist you in the process. Okay, but it's your job to get it done. Okay, the same way we can't hit or throw for you, the same way you wake up early and take extra ground balls or go run sprints, you have to commit yourself to the recruiting process. Okay, is that something you guys can do? Okay, and if I were to ask you, you know, how many hours you spend a week practicing or playing or working towards baseball, my guess is that especially now during the summer, I mean, how many guys here work at baseball or play baseball 10 plus hours a week? Right, between games and everything else, playing probably 4 games on weekends or a week. How many are more than 15 hours a week? 20? Okay, so last year I probably spoke to 20,000 kids, and I would say the vast majority were somewhere between 10. So this question, how many people here spend more than 1 hour researching schools, reaching out to colleges, doing anything recruiting related? More than 1 hour. 1, 2, 3, more than 2 hours. Close, right? 1 hour is kind of push for some of you. 2 hours is right on the cusp. So do you see the issue there, guys? Everybody, out of 484,000 high school players, most of you guys are doing the same thing physically, okay, but very few are doing anything to separate themselves where it really matters, okay, and that's being proactive in developing those relationships. I guarantee you, if you just don't watch The Bachelor this week, you spend that 1 hour, and you work on recruiting, I got you right there. You're like, darn it, I can't watch The Bachelor. I'll tell you who gets the rose. But if you just spend that 1 hour just working at recruiting, like that exponentially boosts all the work you're putting in the weight room and on the field. Okay, so you guys have to do it in order to get ahead. You have to do it to make it. Alright? So does anybody have any questions? Anything? Just mosquito. Anybody? Is there any questions? Yes, sir. What's more impressive? A phone call. The closer you get to personal contact and communication, the better. And it's also, so here's the thing, one of the parents asked me before, what are the rules as far as communication? So coach can't initiate contact with you, okay, recruiting wise, until September 1st of your junior year, right? Are we all aware of that when it comes to Division I, Division II? But there's nothing that prevents you guys, even as a 8th grader or freshman, from picking up the phone and calling them. Okay, so if you can do that, that's great. And then follow up. If the coach does not pick up the phone, follow up with an email and say, hey coach, I left you a voicemail, I'm interested in your program. You know, I'm going to try back at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. You know, if you're interested in talking more to me. Okay? And then try to set up a time where you can go on campus and actually see it. You know, because that's one step closer to going to dance. So, great question. Any other questions?
Hey, can you cover some of the tools they're going to have coming out of this?
Yep.
How they can use those?
Yeah, so the profiles that you guys get, you can upload your transcripts and your videos and update your weight and height, because, I mean, I know some of you guys could change 5 pounds in a day, right? But update all that information and continue to do so. Get in the habit of it. Okay, do it weekly or monthly, so all that's there. Put your video up as often as you can. All the basic profile information, even the video and transcript part, is a free tool. If you guys are interested in more premium stuff, if you need help editing videos, you know, the same way that you have a hitting lesson or a pitching lesson, if you need one-on-one time to talk about recruiting, you want a personal lesson, we'll call it with that. There are those things available to you, even down to ACT and SAT, you know, tutoring classes and prep. But the important thing is to make sure that you're doing something. Okay, I've seen guys use the free aspects of it and get a lot out of it, and I've seen families that spend a lot of money and get nothing with it. And, you know, what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. You know, without question. One thing, and I along those lines, is make sure guys and also to go through the different tools, like step by step. It's important, one, so you understand how to use it. More importantly, if you're not verified, college coaches can't search for you. Okay, and that's a way to kind of filter out any profiles that aren't real. You know, somebody creates one with some different email account, and then filter out guys that really aren't committed to the process. You know, somebody's like, I don't want to play in the SEC. Maybe it's not the right. Again, those opportunities are limited. You have to broaden your horizons. Okay, so make sure that you answer that phone call. Those colleges can search for you for probably anything else? Yes.
I like SAT.
What kind of SAT, ACT? Depends who you ask. Okay, so there are like minimum qualifying numbers that you need to hit, and that's actually on a sliding scale now. It used to be set with an 18 ACT, 2 GPA. You know, now it depends on what the test scores are relative to your core class GPA. I would say, you know, things to shoot for, and again, there's a wide range of academic ability that's here. You know, if you're 4.0 scale, like 3.0 and up, you know, should be the target, right? I think at a minimum. You know, ACT wise, SAT wise, same thing. You want to be above the average there. And a lot of that changes depending on where you're at in the country too. But there's no harm in taking those tests again and again to make that happen. One thing, and here I'll save everybody $75 right now. When you do take the ACT, at the beginning when you bubble in where you want your information sent to, bubble in 9999, and that goes to the NCAA Eligibility Center, and 9876 goes to the NAIA Eligibility Center. Okay, if you don't do that on the front end, you have to pay both parties in order for it to be sent to the other. Okay, it's 9999, 9876. There you go. I just paid for lunch. That's a nice lunch, actually. Going to Chili's. So, all right. Any other questions? Anybody? Well, again, I appreciate everybody coming out here, taking the time, the great questions that we had. I'll be around all day. I know I'm speaking to some families individually. If anybody wants, a little bit more in depth or has some questions, my information is in the email I sent out. I have 2 business cards on me, and I'll be hanging out. So thank you guys so much. So go have some fun out there. I can take the cards if you have them, and books.